blah, 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 blah.
Welcome to the Our Forever Smiles podcast, a podcast created to support mothers of children who were born with clefts and those who love them. I'm your host, Laura Arroyo, and I'm also a mother of a daughter who was born with a surprise cleft palate. I know the challenges you face every day. Whether you have just learned the difficult news of your baby's cleft lip or palate, you're in the midst of pre-op or post-op, or you're an OG cleft mom, this podcast is for you. In a weekly conversation, we will talk about everything from feeding and speech therapy to surgery and school. We'll share tips from guest experts and advocates and even share a little joy in the process. You can listen to Our Forever Smiles wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to the Our Forever Smiles Cleft Mom Diaries and Support Podcast. I am Laura Arroyo. Thank you to all of our subscribers, new and old. I appreciate all of the support that we've received from this wonderful community. You can listen to us via Apple, Spotify, and everywhere that podcasts are available. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not yet, and stay tuned. As a note, we are not medical doctors, and we don't intend for you to use the information that we share here on this podcast as medical advice. We are parents and advocates who love our children, and we're just sharing our own personal experiences. So I am reporting to you live from Houston. This year, I decided to come to CleftCon. This is Smile Train's. I want to say they have it's like a biannual event because they do have like a virtual one and then they have the in-person one. So yeah, somebody can correct me on that, but I believe it's biannual. And yeah, I'm just really, really excited to be here today to just share in this experience of being with people that have been impacted by the cleft journey. Like that is just one thing that I've always wanted to connect with people, to build the podcast, to make this community a lot stronger, just so that other moms know where they can find community. I know upon diagnosis, there's so much information coming at you all at once. There's just a lot. It's just a lot of accepting the emotional aspect of it and then also the practical aspect of it. Like you don't know what your child is going to have to go through, whether that's like, using oxygen. Some children need to have oxygen. Some people have babies that have to go to the NICU. Some people are able to breastfeed. Some people have to syringe feed. Some people have to tube feed. It's just so people's journeys are so different, but we share this really, really strong bond and just learning from each other and learning what worked, learning what didn't work. And I'm just so thrilled to not only meet other mothers of children that have clefts, but also to meet people themselves that were born with clefts and their unique experience and their unique journeys. Because as I've spoken to so many people throughout just starting this podcast, I've realized that the experience of the mother is so much different than the child. But I think in the beginning, the mom is the one who really, really suffers the most and really, really concerns themselves so much. And there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of anxiety, a lot of emotional pain. And then once we, are able to get our children to where they need to be, usually like school age, of course, you're always going to worry about your child. You're always going to be concerned. But I find that this is when the experience of the person that was born with the cleft kind of comes into play, where they start asking more questions, or I find that some people either go in or they go out. It's weird. It's like they either don't really want to talk about their cleft that much, or they're not necessarily ready to come out and to speak about it, or there's someone that is really, really strong-headed and just wants to advocate and want to be a part of this community, which is great as well. But yeah, I'm just really excited to just kind of meet a full array of people. There's been like some crazy stuff going on this morning. So I flew in from Raleigh, North Carolina. I had a connecting flight to in Denver. So I went from Raleigh to Denver, Colorado, and then I came here to Houston. And ironically, this morning there was that global power outage that impacted all of these systems. I don't even know whether it's called like a power outage or what. I think they're saying like internet, Microsoft, no idea. But I fly Southwest like a lot. That's my favorite airline. And my flight was delayed. I really thought that I was going to not make my connecting flight, but just didn't make sense because all planes were down, so it didn't really matter. So I made my flight was delayed. However, I was able to get on a flight. So many people had their flights canceled. My flights were just delayed, but I made it here. I made it here about 1 o'clock. And we're on Central Time. And yeah, so many people's flights were canceled, and like it's really wild because even like the speakers, there's some speakers, like I know Corinne was supposed to speak. I'm not sure if Christine was supposed to speak, Christina Lero, but yeah, there were so many people that have either decided not to go or their flight was delayed until tomorrow. And so it's really that is kind of disheartening that like so many people they tried so hard to like get here and they weren't able to get here. So I'm just grateful, as I'm stating all this and as I'm thinking it makes me feel like there's a reason that I was able to make it here. And wow, I just kind of had a breakthrough there. And I think, so many people have faced so many different obstacles, and we all love each other and we're part of this strong community. And I'm really sad that they weren't able to make it. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, wow, Laura, there's a reason why all these things worked out for you today to be here in order to serve this community and to just be a light and be a resource. And yeah, I don't know. That was like, yeah, I'm really, really excited about that. And I just kind of got a little affirmation that I'm right where I need to be and doing exactly what I need to be doing. But anyway, I will talk to you all after the dinner tonight. We have a dinner at 6 o'clock. So looking forward to that. Hopefully I'll get some good conversations going with people and just able to meet people that have been on the podcast in person because I've never met them in person. We are going to be dining at Good Company Armadillo Palace. And it's supposed to be a Western theme. I didn't realize that it was supposed to be a Western theme until like 2 emails ago. So it was too late. I didn't buy anything to dress up in any Western attire. So I will be there with my dress and yeah, whatever I can find to throw on. But just really excited to meet everyone. And so yeah, so just stay tuned. I will share later on about the dinner. Bye.
Blah, 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 blah.
Hello and welcome back. We are back from the sessions. So really, really excited to just share like my experience. I had such a beautiful time is what I would really describe it as. I feel like I was able to meet so many people that I have recorded the podcast with, and also just people that I'm going to record the podcast with. Like I met with Jimena and Gina, and I've met Christine in person, Christine Erico. I loved her episode. She was wonderful and beautiful. I also met Monique. She has the Instagram. Of course, I will link all of these names and contacts in the show notes as best as I can. But just really, really excited to meet so many faces in person and just to connect with everyone was really, really special. So what I'm going to do is I will break down like the schedule and the sessions that I went to today. So first there was an opening session with Lisa, and she is an adoptive mom. She adopted her son Juan. I believe Juan is from Guatemala, and she took him in after being a foster parent. So she was asked to take him in, and once they realized that he needed Cleft care, she decided that she wanted to adopt him. And I really didn't think that I was going to like cry during these sessions. Well, no, I take that back. I kind of knew I was going to cry because I feel like anytime like I get into a really deep conversation with other Cleft moms and like when I talk about their Cleft journeys and that type of thing, it just makes me emotional. So I mean, I knew I was going to cry, but I just didn't think that it was going to be first thing in the morning. But her story and just seeing Juan was just like really something that was just really special, and that I am so glad that I was able to see. And then after that, we had like remarks from Susie Schaefer. She's the president and CEO of Smile Train. First of all, let's just give a big shout out to having a woman as the CEO of the world's largest Cleft organization. If I can insert like some applause here, I would. Maybe I have to figure that out. But yeah, yes. Shout out to Susie, president and CEO of Smile Train. Super sweet woman. I was able to sit next to her actually on the shuttle ride to the dinner. And so, yeah, she's just so sweet and so warm and very welcoming. And I just feel so like proud that, you know, that this space is here and that she's opened up a safe space and allowed this event to happen because it's so important to so many of us. Okay, so in terms of like what happens throughout the day, there's like an adult track, and adult track is like the people who are Cleft affected, so Cleft affected individuals, and then there's a parent track. A parent track is obviously mothers of children with clefts or fathers, you know, or just like caregivers of children who have a cleft. The one thing, like I was trying to explore sessions from both, just to kind of course, because I'm interested in the topic, but also just to get like some more insights. But what I was told, which I actually loved, is that you were not allowed to go through the adult track unless you were a Cleft affected individual, because they wanted to hold this safe space for people that have that lived experience. And I thought that was like, like, I feel like that was like such a great thing, although it was really like them saying like, hey, you can't go here. It was also just, it warmed my heart that they were holding this space for individuals that have a cleft, and that I'm sorry, I wasn't invited. So it's all right with me. So they had both of those tracks. And so of course I followed the parent track. So the first session that I attended was the Empowering the Next Generation, Navigating Cleft Care, Appearance, and Social Challenges with Resilience. So first of all, I just want to say that as I was in that session, I was thinking to myself, like, I feel like all Cleft teams, Cleft surgeons should really listen to that. They were talking about how they have changed their approach to care, and the way that what is communicated to surgeons while they're going through school is not necessarily what families are looking for when they're looking for treatment or when they're looking for care. And so I thought that was like really valuable and really honest for them to share that information. Just, I guess, like what Dr. Laura was saying is that, you know, they're told about these like different types of like incisions and very like scientific terms and just things that, and lots of research and specializations. And what parents really ultimately want to know when their child is diagnosed with a cleft lip or palate, they really just want to know if their child is going to be okay. They could really care less what type of incision that the surgeons are going to do on their children. And then also they were just talking about how their focus now is just on enhanced recovery. Also just insight into what is best practices with surgeons and doctors and what they're thinking, and how they're realizing that not only is the surgery an important piece of this, but they need nutritionists. They're going to need the ENT to be involved. I was shocked. I don't know if I've mentioned this on an episode just yet, but during Juselle, her all cleft team, where people come and visit her, so we see the surgeon, the ENT, the dentist, orthodontist. Everyone comes to see her in that one little room for her cleft team appointment. We were actually She asked if we wanted to see the therapist this time. And of course, as you know, Giselle's too, so she's not really, I don't think that she's ready for that quite yet. But I was amazed at the whole or the holistic view or this whole person care that I've been receiving at UNC. That's where Giselle had her surgery, but also just hearing that more in the community, in the medical community as it pertains to cleft care. So it was good to hear that also that Texas Children's is doing that, and just like all around, that's what people are doing as a medical best practice. So after that, we had an Embracing Differences, Navigating Cleft and Adoption Journeys. So that was like a panel. So the speakers for that one were Sam Rosen, Max Rosen, and Lisa Olivares. And we're just talking about the adoption process and just things that they went through as families and how it kind of is two lived experiences, right? To be adopted and also on top of that to have a cleft. And so that was really cool to be able to like hear just more about their journeys. There was also like a father and son dynamic there that was like really funny, and I thought it was like really cute. So yeah. The next one was about navigating cleft care, and it was an in-depth cleft treatment insurance workshop, which, oh my God, I am going to put the resources for that soon so that you can kind of have like a guide to navigating insurance, especially if you get a denial. We got some really good information about the steps that you should take if you receive a denial letter or if you need to appeal. And then we went to the Navigating the Journey, delivering news about cleft to family and friends. And this was actually after lunch. We had a great lunch together. You know, it was so interesting because it's like, I've started feeling more comfortable. Like I've known and seen these people my whole life. And I know I've talked to them like via the podcast, and we talk on the internet all the time, but it was just so different seeing them in person. And so I don't know. I just feel like even after like breakfast, I started to kind of hit a stride. And then especially after lunch, I feel like I started being a little bit more of like myself. So after lunch, they did the navigating the journey, delivering the news about cleft to family and friends. Gloria Madera was the moderator, and they just talked about how did they share the news about their child's diagnosis and when. And I just thought it was really funny, you know, Matt's comments about having to cut people off and just being really, like kind of like learning who your people are from that experience. To hear from a male's perspective from Matt, that was like really, yeah, it was just interesting to hear like his feelings around that, and just his vulnerability around that was really great. The next one that we went to, I think it was Advocating Voices, where they talked about the ELSA bill, and hopefully we'll be able to pull some content in as well about how you can support ELSA. Also, just like next steps, I know that they had meetings on the Hill this past week, and so I will also put some links in the show notes about how you can support the Ensuring Lasting Smile Act. And so yeah, that's really, really important to this community. And of course, the best way to support is to write letters to your local representatives. And we've made it really, really easy for you to do that. So please, please, please click the link in the show notes so that you can advocate for this community. I think the last one that we did, no, I think we did two more. This was like a packed day. Let me just say that. Oh, the road to cleft acceptance. That was a good one. We had Carolyn Holder. So she's actually going to be on the podcast as well. Jim Rowe and Monica Bush, who is also going to be on the podcast. So just really, really excited to have them on as well. But they basically just provided a space of their cleft journeys and how they come to accept it. So Monica, her son was born with a cleft. And Carolyn and Jim are both cleft affected individuals. And so it was good to see like the dynamic between the two groups, and the advice that they gave to mothers of children that were born with clefts, and just how to support your child in growing up with that. So after that, we were able to hear the announcement, the Love Meets Joy season 2, the Smile Trains podcast. So they are going to be releasing episodes in September. So we are really, really excited to support them. If you have not yet, go ahead and follow the podcast. You can follow them on Apple or Spotify. They are really excited. The one thing that I will share about the Love Meets Joy podcast, like Ashley and Iva's chemistry is literally unmatched. Like they really, like they finish each other's sentences and they just have like really, really great chemistry. So if you haven't let yet, go ahead and listen to their podcast. And so they were talking about that, but then they also opened the floor for a community building session where all of us were in one room and we were able to share our insights into what, just takeaways from the day. And so we laughed, we cried. It was just a really heartfelt moment to hear from everyone and to hear what happened throughout the day and how people were feeling. So I know that was like really, really quick. I just wanted to give like a quick rundown of like what went on throughout the day, what you can expect at the next ClefCon. Please attend if you're able to. I would do it over and over and over again. But yeah, we have dinner in about 8 minutes. And so I'm going to go run down to dinner and I will catch up with y'all later. Bye. Hello, everyone. Sorry to interrupt, but I need a little bit of help. If you're listening to this on the Apple Podcast app or YouTube, you may see a follow plus sign or subscribe button. If you are able to, it would mean the world to me if you could follow or subscribe. That's the best way to support this show. If you subscribe, I'm able to show it to potential guests or different brands. It helps to grow the show and reach more communities to continue building awareness about the cleft lip and palate journey on a global scale. Thank you so, so much. Back to the conversation. Hello and welcome back, everyone. I am back home now. Oh, I have so many emotions about the weekend. First, just want to thank Smile Train for putting on such an incredible event. I feel like so indebted and so full and so this deep sense of belonging to an amazing community. I have been on Instagram today and I just shared, or I just read a post that said like, there is no community like the Cleft community. And I second that. Like I've been feeling like there's always like groups that, you have in life or identities that you are affiliated with just as life takes you along this journey. And so, of course, I've belonged to different groups and different identities. There has been no group like the Cleft community. This feeling of when you meet people and you felt like you've known them your entire life. I've never felt that way. I mean, and it could be because I've spoken to so many of you in building and creating this platform. Because I've spoken to you all, I've cried with you all. You've shared your incredible stories of resilience and strength, and you've shared so many vulnerabilities with me that have made us closer and stronger as people. But just speaking with people and looking at you all as I've been at each event is just like, wow, this is like so natural for me. This feels so real and the connection feels real and it doesn't feel phony or it doesn't feel like I have to do a lot of work to continue a conversation. And so I've just been really, really grateful for this community, the acceptance of this community. And yeah, so it's just been really, really exciting. Sorry for the quick rundown of all the sessions that we attended during actually the middle block of this podcast episode. I just wanted you all to get a quick rundown of what I attended and just so you can kind of gauge what happens at ClefCon. So we have a dinner, then you have the next day there is breakfast, and then we have an adult track and a parent track that you can attend depending on which one relates to you the most. And yeah, and then there's a lunch in the middle of the day, which is wonderful because you get to connect with so many people and talk to people that you haven't spoken to. And then there is, of course, dinner and drinks after. And it was just so amazing. I love Monica Bush. She put it on her Facebook page, ClefCon After Dark. I love that. We should coin that phrase. But yeah, so I was able to share a drink with people and just really share and joy. Like, I feel like during the sessions, they can be really, really heavy, really vulnerable, but also like, let's celebrate and experience a joy as well. And so we were able to laugh and to just smile together and to just really connect. And so the experience was just really wonderful for me. And I just really appreciate being able to go and just being embraced. And yeah, so I hope that you all have enjoyed this ClefCon recap. I hope that you've all made it home safely if you did attend ClefCon. So next year, they are going to have ClefCon in Orlando, Florida. And I am so looking forward to going there. So just so excited to recap. Really recommend the event for anyone that is Clef affected or a Clef mom. It is a celebration. It is a place to feel like you belong. It is a place to express yourself and to help others navigate different issues, help people understand. And it just is really an event to bring us all in so that we can share in this identity. And I'm really, really excited and really grateful that I was able to attend. And I will see you all there next year. So I wanted to share what you can expect from Our Forever Smiles next week. We have Micah Clark coming on. She is a speech and language pathologist with 25 years of experience in adult and pediatric populations, and she spent the last decade working in level 2 and level 3 neonatal intensive care units. So that is the NICU. So as many of you know, our babies may or may not spend time in the NICU due to feeding issues or other issues that may occur, or it may be your Cleft team's default. The NICU team might be there to just monitor them to make sure that there is not a need for NICU time. And so she really does a deep dive on how to advocate for your child and how to ask the right questions and how to take on feeding, as we know that this is a major challenge for many Cleft moms. And so I loved our conversation. Micah is a total sweetheart, and she is open and willing to provide advice for Cleft moms. And if you need to reach out to her for some guidance or advice, she's totally open to that. And so I'm just looking forward to that episode, and I hope that you're able to check it out. I just want to thank you all again for listening to the Our Forever Smiles Cleft Mom Diaries and Support podcast. Be sure to subscribe and submit a review of the podcast wherever you listen. I hope that you've enjoyed this audio experience. Maybe you cried a little, laughed a little, but more importantly, I hope that you feel a little piece of reassurance and even joy in your journey. Talk to you next week.